Okay, camera should be on today. There we go. Things are working. Required off and on again yesterday. Yeah, streaming takes a lot of energy. It does. It does. I get that. Um, I long ago stopped worrying about the entertainment value and just figured I would stream the development and if people enjoy hanging out and chatting and stuff, then it is what it is. So um, yeah, it takes a lot more energy to do all the entertainment stuff. That's what I do is yellow everything, and most of it is few lines, restart, reload. There's not much going on. Yeah, I mean, I'm not necessarily doing anything with great planning. This most of what I do is um, organic. Um, but yeah, yeah, I'm not pushing. I'm just curious. It's always good to find other streamers doing cool things. But yeah, so today. So I was going to go down the rabbit hole of figuring out rate limiting, figuring out other things. Let's start this up. Might as well make sure everything's working. Plus, reading takes a lot of effort, so having active chat is kind of deterring if you know what I mean. Yes, yeah. If you start a stream up and you want to get something done, it's probably not wise. Getting some coding done, but you shouldn't have like a determined plan of in this 2 hour. Like I have these 2 hours every day. Um, in these 2 hours, I will get this, and this done. If I was planning like that, it would be extremely frustrating because some days, you've got way more done than you thought because the chat was quiet and no one really wanted to interact. And then other days it just blows up and you can't control it. So there's no predictability to streaming. But you should always go into it thinking, you know what, I'm not going to get much done today because then it's always a surprise. So okay, so I was going to go into today thinking, I'm going to get rate limits on the web API on the API. We're going to get, so we can use this. Um, what's it called? Insomnia. Oh, I know what I always start with. I want to work on this, and I keep working until it's done, or I have to get to bed. Most likely results in 18-hour work days. Oof. Yeah. Yeah. So what we got working today is Friday. Yes. I figured I would not troll the notification day. I reached welcome in. Hope you're well. Um. So on Monday we had the API working. So now with developers stream active, you could apparently um uh here we could open up the website and see, here's my profile. Um no Thunder client built into JetBrains ID. Thunder client? Oh, we're learning something new today. Oh, right. Okay, like the HTTP endpoint stuff. Gotcha. There is the HTTP stuff. Yeah. However, so there is endpoints um around these things, right? Um, I just never think to use them. Um, Yeah, yeah, and that'll error because of really you're gonna return 200. Really, does that return 200 if I do that with? It returns null. Interesting. Or it should return a no content. But yeah. So yeah, there is. I just don't think to use it because this newfangled technology stuff is not something I picked up on. Yeah. So yeah, I just don't. My go-to is to use other tools still. But anyway, so we have the API key being validated. We have the ability to query this by either name. So TBD Gamer or TBD Develops, right? Um, music sync stuff is driving me bonkers. You tackle hard problems. I tackle nice, easy ones like web stuff. Um, so yeah, we can get back. As a consumer, I've used Spotify, but not any APIs or tooling. Okay, so that's up and running. Um, so I was considering next steps, right? I was like, oh, we got to clean this up. We gotta make the API key more. We got to be able to regenerate an API key. We've got to be able to, um, organize this layout a little better. We got to put. It would be good to have icons on here to show, or somewhere else that's not throwing the layout off. Right. Developers upstream. We go here. You know, obviously this card and stuff. Um, so you know that it's shared state between our clients, and you can move the audio to another device and control the playback from it. Yes, yes, yeah. Um, there's a developer I followed about 15 years ago, and she was heavy into like that sort of stuff where she um yeah back in easily 15 years ago now she was figuring out how to do that sort of stuff um in the quickest possible way so she could share, oh look, I've played a YouTube video in this window, now I open this browser window and or this mobile app and it resumes playing from where I was watching it and the other one, etc. Yeah, yeah, that's not an easy challenge. So yeah, we have we have the functionality here, but obviously there's things like cleaning up these cards, maybe figuring out how to go get a snapshot of the stream. Yeah, I wanted to expand it to a watch party. Yeah, oof, synchronizing. Ugh. Even thinking about the basics of that seems like a hard problem to solve. Um, seems like a simple concept, but a hard problem to do effectively because of all the things that can go wrong in between. Um, so yeah, there's a lot of things that now open up possibilities. Um, feedback loops when you click a button is updating its own state, which updates its state, which updates its own state. Yeah, yeah. Um, So this is not where I want it to be necessarily, right? It doesn't visually. This stuff looks okay. It's usable. Obviously, there's an idea here, not an actual implementation. Um, and I could keep doing this for months, right? I could keep building out all these little pieces until I'm happy that it's what I want it to be, and then, um, you know, search doesn't work yet, right? We don't have a search ability, etc. But if I don't switch this over to basically create a bunch of issues that other people can tackle, maybe find some ideal first issues, etc., then I'm not really um uh um how am I say that? I'm not really going to I'm not it's not in the spirit of open source, right? The code's there, but that's not open source, right? It's not what open source is built for. That's just me sharing my code. So it's time to switch over to put in a bunch of issues and um, make this available and accepting PRs. Um, it's not going to be perfect. And then I also need to figure out how am I going to deploy this once it's functional enough. What does deployment look like? Initially, what I was going to do is I was going to fork it, but I don't think that's the right thing to do. I think that's a disingenuous thing to do because obviously then I can control whatever differently. Um, so let us go to here. Before I do anything else, I'm going to do this. I know Aspire was updated to 9.3. It's now very AI. If you go Visual Studio, it crashes otherwise. Yeah, let's upgrade these. Let's get them upgraded. Um, update libraries to latest versions. In this instance, it's better to do this now, even though I haven't tested anything or verified anything, because testing will happen through development, right? And staying on the latest version means that if I find quirky bugs, I find quirky bugs. Only when I'm ready to release it is that going to be a particular challenge. So what I need to figure out now is what does it look like for someone checking this out for the first time? What do they need? Right. So we have the README. Got to document. We got to document the process of going through YouTube and adding a YouTube token. Um, uh, requirements. Docker. You need Docker. You can't get away without having Docker. Um, 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 yeah. Let's go with that for right this second. Um, Twitch application. Oh, no. Healing. Gotta figure some things out here. Um, George, hello. Thank you very much for 17 months. I barely see you and you keep that sub there. I truly do appreciate that. Oh, I know you're working when I'm streaming, so that's it makes it hard to come and hang out. But thank you very much. The stream times. Yeah. Yes. The problem is I'm considering doing streams later in the day as well, but that's later in the day, so that's the middle of your the middle of your sleep time. So I will probably miss you then as well. But oh, down with the flu. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Although not sorry because you're here, which is good to see you. So yeah, um, currently working on developers.stream. I don't know how much of this you are aware of. I'll start it up once more. Nice. Nice. That's what make the most of having the flu. I would do the same thing. Hit. Mean login. Oh, have they gone the whole? Interesting. Finally got something to run a pie. Nice. TTR, PG, Discord. The pie is good. I wish I had more time to just do stuff in general. There's all sorts of things I want to do, especially Raspberry Pi stuff. So my video game collection, I'd like to have um, a machine that is set up that will kick into life when I'm in the room and be able to scan barcodes of games and look them up and also kind of help catalog as well. That's one of my dreams for my Raspberry Pi stuff. Also, then if my daughter decides to play on a Switch or whatever, she can take a game and play it. Um, yeah, yeah. There's a like I want to get the game library hooked into game streams and get some game streams done, and get provide like retro collection information, but also then say, hey, you want to pick a game, um, you know, use points and stuff and put overlays in there off games. There's, I have all sorts of dreams. I just don't have the time, energy, or brain power to do a lot of them. Um, yeah. So anyway, this is developers or stream. This is the current form. It doesn't look very good, but the basics are starting to come together. Um, yeah. So it is working. Um, Samson should be a t-shirt. um, any secret? So that's not for that one though. So that's auth contacts, auth db contact. No, Twitch client. That's for my side of it though. That's not for linking web. That's for Add auth. Front of t-shirt. I've all sorts of dreams. Back in t-shirt, but I don't have the time, energy, or brain power. Yeah. I'm a really new, but C sharp just broke. If it's true, it gets to the else if. Are you sure? uh, I've been doing C sharp for a little while, and I don't remember any time hitting a bug like that unless you're doing something particularly quirky, like an async or something that's been evaluated differently. So you're hovering over the internals, but the externally evaluates differently. Yeah, if you needed a second set of eyes. Um, so what I'm trying to go over is the pieces. Oh, sorry, Stoney, you don't have VIP. I will correct. Eighty VIP slots, so that's correctable. There you go. You should be special now. Yeah, I by default don't. If you're a sub or you are VIP, you can get links, but I've had too many issues with bots. If state.play state. It's pretty unambiguous. You're VIP now, yes. There's there is no ambiguity as to what that's doing, and you get into the else if. Hmm. Something's gonna be like, oh yeah, there. I just don't know what it is. Be true after you do the remove. Right, but I assume 147 is the line in question, and play state is true, which means it shouldn't even get to the else if to do the try remove. Hmm. Is this isn't multi-threaded, is it? You're not getting into the else if on a different debug session. And yeah, that has often confused me because obviously the debugs overlap. Um, yeah, that's a hmm, how else would that be done? Extended by hub. Huh. Yeah, I'm not sure. Um, ASP.NET Security Auth, Twitch. Um, I always run into these weird things that are inexplicable. So back when I started with .NET, um, I'd been working in BASIC for several years at that point, like 6 or 7 years at that point. I've been working in BASIC code, so I hadn't really had much experience, if any, of any sort of multi-threading. And the first application I write was a business application for mobile devices, and I quickly got in. So I was in building client server stuff with .NET, um, interacting through APIs and um, talking over custom XML format to our basic application, etc. But I had many clients connecting and transferring data and um, validating that they were sending the right data and all that sort of stuff. So um, yeah, I quickly got into a big mess with, you know, multiple clients connecting to my server, debugging that, figuring out what the heck each message, because obviously they're sending packets of data all the time, right? So like learning how to decipher um, which client was sending what data um, was a challenge. Hey Frank, how you doing? Yes, I crawled under my desk after the stream yesterday, pulled the cable out of the Elgato link, cam link, and put it back in, and back came the camera. So it was just a meltdown. So, but yeah, we are back today. I feel much more. Actually, I don't like being on the camera, but I feel much more comfortable streaming on the camera because even when I have moments of thought, you at least see that I'm still there and I'm not just the screen hasn't just gone, stuck. I know I still have pauses, which upset some people. Um, but yeah. One daughter. Yeah. I don't know. I think that code is pretty self-explanatory. Again, the if is the challenge. The try remove isn't doing anything to affect the initial if statement. Uh, but like I said, my if it's not multi-threading, then that's an interesting one. Need to be sure the trigger triggers at the right time too. I have an internal timer that just increments every second to track the current time of the music. Should be accurate enough. Huh. Yeah. Okay. So app settings. So these these pieces of information are kind of pulling double duty, which is a challenge, right? Because I'm using them for well, these Twitch ones right now are using a double duty because they're being used to log in as Twitch, and also they're being used to for me to authenticate you as a user of that platform. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to prepare this for um, merging to main and saying, hey, we can take PRs now, but I want to make sure this is thought through and documented. Um, I'm thinking what I'll do is I might as well use this. We know this doesn't work, right? We know this is terrible. Um, I tried to do this the other week and their APIs were down. So I'm not going to panic about Kick integration. I'll leave it there, but I'm not panicking about it. Um, yeah, but I might um, go through and figure out the YouTube documentation stuff. Yeah, it is a weird one, Stony. That is definitely a weird one. So what I was going to do there is I was going to see if I can add. I don't know if we found anything specific out yet, George. We'll start even if start playback change the state, it would have to be on the subsequent call through. Um, it's not that code in itself is nothing particularly tricky. So okay, what was I going to do then? I was going to try and find. So okay, again, we use the client ID and secret here to add authentication, so we can log in as that provider. So let's um, and now it runs correctly without changing anything. That would be my guess. The state is not what you think it is when it. Yeah, but you know your code better. So, um, so can I add? Basically, what I'm thinking is, can I add Google Auth in here as a um, that's not the one though. Um, .NET identity providers. If the delay causes it to violate true, then that might be a thing. Could be, in my experience, also be something to do with the dependency container. If you don't scope correctly, dependencies might load wonky. I haven't seen that before. One of the older devs that were liking the AI bubble to the .NET bubble. .NET bubble? It's a pretty interesting analogy. The internet. Oh, that .NET. uh, identity. What I'm looking for is the out of the box. Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see that. I mean, it builds up and builds up and builds up until it crashes and finds its normal point, and then people change how they use it or reevaluate what they're doing with it. External, there you go. Google authentication. That's what I want. Yeah. So what we do here. Yeah. Don't forget, Amazon didn't actually turn a profit until relatively recently, right? Um, Amazon was just a very strange uh, entity to come through that era. Um, Entire .NET bubble. Um, it's funny that you said .NET, and I immediately didn't think of .com bubble. Um, um, yeah. CEO of the company I'm at told a story to explain their AI strategy that was more apt than he expected. He said that from the first satellite was launched until we stood on the moon, there was a huge leap in technology. Moving slow was not made what made it great. My rebuttal to that was that after we landed on the moon, space travel had no giant leaps for like 60 years. Uh, all state except for the connected device array is local to this file. Huh. Um, yeah. Um, on so on Stoney's point, DI is not likely to be the cause. The state is local. It's not likely to be overlapping there, so that's unlikely. But hmm. I don't know, Stoney. That's an interesting one. Um, I don't think there's a bug in there. I think there's just a an ordering of something that's going wrong. They said the connected devices, so you do have some async behavior. So maybe that's the cause. Um, um, Someone at work made a similar point. Transformers was this stepwise improvement on AI. To make another stepwise improvement, they have to invent something else. Not just going to go up linear. I can't even say the word. Um, yeah, I don't know, but I'm gonna add. I think I want to add the Google Auth in here. The Google Auth. Um, so there's these providers. Um, right, add Google. Is it is it actually there? No, it's not there. Um, being that they've got the credentials there, I might as well set it up to begin with, and then we're better off. Um, right, I have this information. I'm not. It's not. There we go. Google APIs auth ASP.NET Core 3. Um, um, yeah, yeah. It's one of the things you look back like 50 years, the change of technology, the change of companies. Um, what is the biggest in the world? And my job, they also say our staging pod should have the resources and limits half, so we don't waste resources there. Then we can load test and assume that our pods can handle double that live. Try to tell them that is a dangerous assumption. Yeah, it's what is awesome about community. So let's go and add. We're going to add Google in here. Google.apis.oauth auth ASP.NET. So what's the difference? Hold on. 165 was released in January 2024. ASP.NET Core 3. That's a smelly library naming, Google. The man's got flu and he's still... That doesn't look the same, does it? What are you doing? I'm on documentation. So that says add Google, right? Google authentication, create the Google Auth to client ID and secret in the auth. So we've done these parts. I do need to log into Google in a second and do this, but yeah. Google don't do bad naming. They just say that they made a new standard. So the reason I'm doing this is I can document out this piece, get this in so that you can log in with Google or Twitch. We can remove the regular login or disable the regular login for now. I'll probably put that behind some sort of feature flag. That way we can deploy it and give the directions on how to set it up. And the credentials. So everything in here is the Google part, right? API does not look like that. Configuration. But it does look like that. How did I set it up? I set it up as YouTube, didn't I? It's fine. Did I set it up as client secret or secret? I set it up as secret. Now that I'm no longer teaching, I should look to start using Rider. Rider is a good platform for development. Opening this in Visual Studio last week was not a good time, sadly. Yeah. So I believe if we run that now, we should be able to open a new tab and log in with Google. Firefoxy. Yeah, man. So we go here, refresh. Everything's starting up still. I don't want, the reason I'm doing this again is I might as well get the YouTube or the Google login added at the same time. Might as well get that ready because then it's using the same pieces that we're going to tell people to set up and why you're adding those things. Yeah. Oh, what a button. This app's request is invalid. Probably because let's go to I can't show this on stream. So Google does not hide secrets and things in their dashboard. Twitch, at least if I open the Twitch dev dashboard right now, I can see the client ID, and the secret won't show, but Google, I have no guarantee what I will see, and I know that they show. Um, I know that they show secrets and stuff, so I got to be careful. And add Google OpenID Connect. Yeah, there we go. Sorry for the flashbang. I do apologize. Yeah, that's all there. And then, yeah, that's fine. We're not generating the button, we just need the add identity. So let me go to copy link. So I apologize for doing this off screen, but I can't trust this. Auth consent screen, clients, developer stream link. My suspicion is I do not have that URL. Yeah. HTTPS localhost 7102. Ah, that's an origin. I save that. Let's see what happens now. OAuth 2 client IDs. So we're using this from two directions, right? So the idea is that we can log in with the same client ID that we have configured for validating a user. So when you log in, it uses the same client ID and secret, but then the API side of things, when we're actually going to, not that one, not that one, the back end, this one, when we go in here, we're using the same sort of settings to allow us to auth. Yeah, that's fine. So let's try that once more. No. Inspect. It should work. And yeah, again, I can't share because it shows my client secret right on screen. Without any sort of asterisking. Developer stream. Thank you for the follow. Welcome in. As always, if you do have any questions, thoughts, opinions on what I'm doing, if you're curious, you're more than welcome to ask. You're more than welcome to join in the conversation. There's no requirement, but I do want to make sure people are aware that the stream is not necessarily just about watching me code, or me just coding. They want to be interactive if people want to ask questions and talk. So we're trying to add Google. This is the same client ID and secret. I mean, I'm labeling them as YouTube. Ultimately, it is Google anyway, so that doesn't change. Um, this client ID and secret is configured in the thing that this is telling me to go into. The act of adding this is what it makes that button appear, right? Those buttons are built by um, components, account, shared pages, login. So these buttons are being built by the external login picker. That is a internal control. It gets the external scheme. So yeah, provide a name, provide a title. So I assume we can set, maybe we can set a display name in there. Or there's some extra options here. No, there's got to be a way of changing the button. Select the create button, save the client ID and secret for using the app's configuration. When deploying the site, either update the apps, redirect. So that is coming from 7.102. I do have that configured in my clients. And they're saying you need sign in hyphen Google as a thing there. So yeah, you can't sign in because this app sent an invalid request. You can try again later or contact the developer about this issue. See error details. Oh, sign in OIDC. Tell me the documentation's wrong. I mean, the docs so far show sign in Google, add Google, and add Google is not a thing. So let's try that one. No. Sign in OIDC is not a thing either. Well, it does say take 5 minutes to a few hours for settings to take effect. So let's not just assume that right now. Give that a minute. The idea here is that I'm enabling identity. Is there a clean way of disabling Microsoft identity, disable local auth? So configure identity. All the providers overview. Because what I'd like to do here is basically disable the login here because I can't show the database. But basically, AuthDB is going to store that, and I don't want to. I don't think we should. I don't want to comment it out or hide it in any way. I just want to be able to say, okay, well, this is because the login page. Yeah. Yeah. Customizing these buttons and stuff. I'm not going to make that a goal for me. I'm going to leave that to other people. Wow. So, yeah. What is this? I'm just giving that a minute. I'm basically just giving it enough time to make sure that trickles through. So I've added OIDC and Google. This is wrong though, right? Because they're saying sign in Google. I've added that authorized URL. Yeah. Add the Google APIs. Add authentication for ASP.NET app. The call to add identity configures the default scheme settings. That's done. Yeah, they're not. That's not what I'm doing. Overview. Figure. Being that this is aimed at streamers, being that this is aimed at providing streamers value, they have to have a Twitch or a YouTube account. So disabling the built-in identity does make sense, right? I don't want to, and yes, you're gonna have to still validate that account. You're still gonna have to validate the YouTube account or the Twitch account, etc. But I don't think having a local account is useful. Let's do this. Searching under the screen. Um, Sorry. So I'm just asking the question of Claude on the other screen. Let's start this up once more just to see while we're waiting on that one. My default token providers add authentication. See, it's still telling me to add Google. Even Claude's docs are saying add Google. Um, it sent me off on a weird path there. There we go. So that's allowing me to sign in with Google now. So, uh, now the weird thing about the Google stuff is you kind of have a dev token, so that's going to be interesting. Yes, it's me. Continue as turn. Yeah, continue. Ugh. So we did go back to signing our IDC. So the process worked of trying to sign in, but the error that was yeah, I don't think that's working the way I want it to do. So we might have to bail on this one because they don't have Google. That's not a thing. Most documentation tells you to just do Google. But setting up the callback and stuff is not worth it. So anyway, let's bail on that one for right this second. Um, we'll leave that as a to do. Um, yeah. However, let's do this. Microsoft extensions dot features. Let's add this. So what I want to do here is I want to so Microsoft's features really that's the whole part of that, is it? Um, allow you to set feature flags in configuration. All right. So that's that frameworks source repo. There you go. So it's all part of ASP.NET Core. Awesome. Project website is ASP.NET. This search I'll share Microsoft. So feature flags. No, is it Microsoft Feature Management? Is that what it is? Is that what I'm actually after? Yes, it is what I'm after, isn't it? Yes. We'll worry about that afterwards. I think that's still valid. So add the package, include feature management. Again, I'm doing this so that I can hide that login page, right? That's what I'm doing. Builder services, add feature management. And then do is up here. What would we call this? Local identity. Right. And then in our pages, we inject public eye feature manager. Right. I'm sat really awkwardly because of the chair. Yeah, replace with null. I figured that would be that. And now, I don't have to implement it. That is enabled, yeah. So basically, in here, we need this one, this div, yeah. If feature manager is enabled, of course. We don't have async in here, do we? How do you do that? Is so they made it all. Change that. Thank you, sorry bot. What's the right way to do that? Uninitialize. Okay, that's another way, isn't it? If so, oh, it's false. Um, equals await feature manager is enabled async, and then we're not going to do anything clever. Local identity. Right. So now when we run, that entire form should hide. So I don't necessarily remove it, but disable it. And this is the best way I can think of right this second of disabling it without spending, oh my goodness, it's 8:13. Not where I want it to be by the end of today. But yeah, just basically allow someone to enable it if they really choose to. Don't remove the code. Yeah. And as always, if you have any thoughts, questions, opinions on what I'm doing, if you want to, these are going to conflict because I'm refreshing both at the same time. Okay. So this one, yeah, log in. There we go. Good afternoon, Mr. Jones. How you doing? So that's selected provider. With which to log in. Apply changes. Ugh, that's horrendous. Call LG6. Okay. Sleepy dogs. So you know, Twitch login. Yeah, you gotta log in with that. That's that. So if we enable that again now, I don't think this is going to work with a refresh. Oh, it did. Huh. There we go. So now we can disable enable. So that is a good piece. You can make this more complicated, by the way. I definitely know that. You can make that way more complicated. But that does include feature management to allow disabling of local identity. That could potentially be useful in the future, but I'd rather leave it in place and have other people review and see. Okay, so yes, yes. Um, documentation. Twitch application. Create a Twitch application. To allow user login as user. This is the auth part. Um, sorry, this is why I don't do documentation too much on stream, because I have to think about what I'm saying and typing at the same time, and those two things don't always go together. So I'm trying to do the bare minimum here, if I'm honest. I'm trying to do I need to get someone to be able to onboard enough that they could get through this. Back to developers.stream.web. Additional yeah, to allow users to link their streams to develop stream link. Allow allow linking accounts. Need to developers.stream API in backend. The previous steps for adding the secret client ID secret. Um, board and add additional callbacks. These two are necessary for it to navigate into them. So when you log in, it'll navigate into profile. And also when you're linking the account, it needs to call back to validate the code flow. So that's why these two are both added. Which you require 3 callbacks. I'm going to condense them. There's no point saying, oh, now you've done that. Now go straight back in, add it here, and do that. 3 callbacks. That's just redundant. So required to sign in, required to allow users to you may or may not link the same Twitch account you log in with, right? I mean, that's going to be hard to manage. We're going to have to figure that out. But right now, you're likely just to link that account. But the account linking, because you could sign in with Google, we could actually enable the identity, and that linking is not there. So over time, we'll figure that out. But yeah. And register a new application. Oh. Okay. After configuring in accounts, there you go. Yeah. Okay. Updated docs to improve. again, I'm not. This is the sort of stuff that as people start, if I mean, I say as, I don't know anybody that's necessarily going to want to just jump into this and build on it, but um, I don't want to proceed too much down there, because it's documentation to me is not useful when the person who's done it goes through it and documents it. I think the documentation is the most useful when the person who hasn't done it goes through um, and documents it with the other person so that they can ask questions and clarify what is confusing and what's not. You solved it. Nice. What was it? So, so yeah, there we go. So we've disabled, we put the local identity behind a feature flag. We tried adding Google Auth, but that is a little bit more involved. And that flow is not working as I might want. So we reverted that. We tried adding kickoff last week, and that went badly because Kick's documentation or Kick's API is not actually up up to scratch. Um, let's give that one more go. Actually, auth configuration. The most likely a race condition. The method was being run with a task call, basically. Gotcha. So it okay. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. It was okay. I really want to make those code behind, but we're gonna talk about that afterwards. Login, profile. Yeah. So right, kick ID id.kick. So last time we tried this, id.kick.com, which is what their documentation says to go to, was not available. It didn't work. Um, which is not good. Developers.stream this window. So the way this works, when you link your account, it it creates a record in here with a state. It uses CodeFlow to go to the provider, um, do that auth process, validate the code, and then authenticate to get the name, and that's it. We don't. Um, it's not forward. Um, so the goal is very much that. So let's go to here. So when we go to profile now, you see link kick account. When we click link kick account, yep. This is off their documentation as well. Um, create your app, right? Enable two-factor. Upon successful authorization, build your app. Okay, so OAuth 2.1. Kick OAuth server is id.kick.com. The host URL is id.kick.com. So I assume people are not really using Kick because that doesn't exist. So yeah, we'll not put Kick auth in here yet. This will now have a record because it creates me a state when I click the button and then navigates to it, but it's expecting that state to be validated and it doesn't work. So find that back out again. So just yeah. So that is that. So let's streamers API. Let's do a PR. We'll start talking about what happens next. So if you are interested in this project, it is available. Compare and create pull request. This is going to be massive, so I'm not going to really do very much here, but initial working build. Don't need that. So again, 237 files. This is basically the app from scratch. We've done a lot over the past several weeks to get this up to this point. But at this point, there is an application that you can log in with Twitch or log in with, well, eventually log in with YouTube. We'll figure that part out eventually. You can link your Twitch and Google accounts or your YouTube accounts and provide those links. So let's get that merged. Is this perfect? No. No, it's not perfect. Is it an ideal first project? No. But it can be built upon. It can be talked about. It can be referenced. App settings. Yeah. All these are defaulted, right? There's things now that I learn as PRs happen. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to do view all branches, new branch, development, source main. Right. This becomes view rules, settings, rules, rule sets, new rule set, new branch rule set. Active targets, main, restrict deletions, require deployments to succeed, require pull request before merging, one approval. Yeah. We haven't got status checks yet. These are things that will come later as far as rules go. Block force pushes, create. Branches. That should allow that. Development. This is the default branch. This is what we want to do. Settings, branches, tags, rules. Where do you set default? Oh, there you go. Default branch. Edit is development. Oh, derp. That one. Development update. Yes. Rule sets. Development. Active. Default branch. Merge commits. I'm not going to prevent that right this second. One approval. Dismiss stale. I'm obviously going to bypass this anyway, so this is fine. I need to set this up on Liquid Sky to bypass it because it is a pain when I push and I have reviews enabled. But that's to make sure that other people that I'm working with merge, squash, and rebase. Create. Okay, so that should be there now. Okay. So let's go through a little bit of good issue. Let's add some issues, basically. And we'll mark some of them as good first issues. My concern with this code base is because I've built it and I'm building it the way I build software, is that it's not necessarily a really easy software piece to pick up. However, I want to make sure that it is approachable. So, I want to advertise that it's okay to ask questions. It's okay to jump in and Discord and have a chat. Yeah, it's important to remember. This is not okay. So, I'm open to ideas as well. If you have thoughts on doing this, please feel free. I know a first one that would be good. Issues. Display logos for linked platforms in profile. Instead of displaying, what do we display? Twitch is linked, YouTube is linked. Good first issue. Enhancement. Feature. Milestone. Create. What else? What else? I'm open to ideas here as well. If anyone has any thoughts or opinions on what it would be. I think organizing So my development of this does not stop here, right? Obviously, there's things that I want to now tackle, but I want to now put the issues in there to track what is being worked on. Um, but I think it's time to share it more broadly. Um, but that being said, if you do have thoughts, opinions on things I could do, things you might like to see in this platform, that would be that's what this is all about, right? It's not about me just waffling on and coding all the time. This is meant to be shared. I think organizing these in some sort of grid would be useful. Um, Flexing that layout, but do I want to? Um, do I want to do that? I don't know. Um, um, so I'm gonna put issues in. We can obviously talk about whether they're good first issues versus not. Um, Display. Um, I do have a question for anyone who's up for a challenge. How would you go about uh, tackling indicating live versus not live streams? Um, well, okay, so yes, red live dots, but how would you do that? Like, how would you determine whether they are live? Would you query all the products and all the platforms and see if they're actually enabled? Is there an API available to us to tell us when something goes live? Is that sort of integration we need to work on? What is the how would you achieve that thing? And good morning, by the way. I don't think I've seen you talk yet. I assume you are busy working so you can have community day. Which I'm taking my sweatshirt off. It's way too cold. Oh, that would be an issue to log service for determining whether a stream is live. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the issues. I'm going to put everything in the issues right this second. We can determine, obviously, with some review, what is good first issue versus not. Um, Indicate a streamer is live. Um, when it would be nice to be able to see if the streamer is streaming now. Um, Sort currently live streamers up to the right. I'm not going to put too much stuff in there. Labels, enhancement, um, um, no type, feature for certain, right? Um, what else? What else? What else? What else? Yeah, the time we normally spend the time I would normally spend sending messages now being taken up by typing continue in Copilot agent. Not the most thrilled about that part. I just want it to keep going until it completes the current effort while I work on the application I'm working on. Oh, this build? No. What? Oh no. Why have all my... None of that should have changed. Uh-oh. That's not a good sign. So, if you haven't checked out your stream, um, maybe he is currently streaming and working on his Barely Fit application, which is awesome, by the way. Oh, come on, why? um, and this morning he posted something on LinkedIn that was the first thing I saw as I woke up. I would blurry. I would checking my phone because obviously my alarm's on my phone. Checking my phone, LinkedIn's up, and he's got a picture, and it's his head on like a guy's body on a treadmill, and it was just strange to start my day looking at that. So now he's doubled down on the fun. Um, where have my my URLs gone? What? Why? Why? What did I change? I changed nothing. The 7102 is meant to start on that. Why? HTTPS. I'm still not entirely sure I understand exactly how it pulls which profile it's going to pull, but I didn't change anything. But it's not starting up this API on the correct thing. Did I select? Oh, did I select HTTP? Let's see. If that's the case, I'm deleting the other profiles and we're just going to have HTTPS because it's the right thing to do. Let's see. Did I misselect and select HTTP? Because I know I touched the drop down, right? That looks different already. That's a different port. So I updated all the libraries. Yeah, there we go. It's looking healthier now. I updated all the libraries. Um, you're very welcome, mate. Yeah, it's very pretty. Um, yeah. So, okay, just completely lost my train of thought there. But yeah, Barely Fit is aiming to get the Android version out by the end of this month, and it is looking awesome. Putting a lot of work in there. It's very inspiring seeing the amount of work that's going into producing a product. Obviously, Liquid Sky is a labor of love for me, um, but I am a long way off getting that to where I want it to be. But it is inspiring to see someone else pushing for that that near goal, and does make me want to figure out how to push Liquid Sky that a little bit further. Okay, so that's working. Um, title not showing on profile screen. The title this is not an easy thing to get into. This habit of um, um, writing these issues out there and not trying to fix them. Right. I know that I'm building an entire piece of software around that concept, but again, bugs aren't something that I like. It's not a bug. It's a missed piece of the code that needs to be addressed. Um, but my instinct is to go fix it. But that's not the purpose of building something like this. The purpose of building something like this is so that the community can own this. I will figure out the deployment of this. I will deploy it, and you know, um, figure out what that looks like. Hopefully, I can do this for relatively little cost. I do not have infinite funds, right? So we'd have to figure that out. But yeah, the title is title not showing the profile. The title is correctly set to home when on the home page. However, the title shows the address profile page. Labels, bug, enhancement, bug, good first issue. Issues. And if you don't agree with what I'm doing, by the way, if you think that what I'm adding in here is incorrect, please just let me know. Log out. And log out. Coding Craftsman. Yes. Hello. How are you doing? It's been a while. I hope you are well. Hope things are going well. We were very, very busy last time we spoke with work, so okay. As a user, it's nice to be able to log out. Morning, Trap. Project's going well today. What I've done is I've just merged developers.stream into the main branch, and I'm adding some issues that might be good for people to pick up. I've tried adding Google as a auth provider. That didn't go very well. To log in with Google, there's some bugs in that library, some configuration, and yeah. But we have put a feature flag behind the login page, so now when you get to log in, you don't get to create. I'm not worrying about creating the database there for that, so you can just log in with Twitch. Very tired. We hit summer ball season, so this is the first morning I haven't either been working or getting ready for a game. Oof. Yeah. Okay, so this is labels, enhancement. I won't say logout is a good first issue because you have to have a bit of an understanding of identity, feature. Yeah, let's do that. So what I'm doing is I'm just trying to add some of the things in here that need to be worked on, and then trying to give some guidance as to if people want to pick things up. Search doesn't work. This is one I'm going to assign straight to me, by the way, because this is this is not something I want someone else implementing. I have about 5 hours to do whatever I want, and we start a 3-day softball tournament. Yeah. I know it's good for the kids and stuff, but man, entire weekend you could have been playing games, you could have been programming, you could have been grilling and just hanging out and doing nothing. But no, you get to and I've my former boss, his son was really good at baseball and he was all over the place. tournaments all weekends and stuff, and it was just crazy. Um, Search bar currently not doing anything. Able to search by name, tag, or description. Searching, filtered. I'm going to assign this straight to me. I don't think that's something that I want anybody else necessarily picking up right this second, because it's kind of opinionated, right? That's one of my fears when it comes to developing something like this, where I say, hey, it's open source, right? What happened, and it's why I've spent so long getting the structure in the way that I'm comfortable with, because I realize that the idea of open source is collaborative, right? It's not meant to be mine, it's meant to be ours. I get that entire point. However, because I have a goal for it to go into something, I want it to actually be usable as a site to work off of. I have to be comfortable in that code base. I have to be comfortable with the patterns that are laid out there. I have to be happy that I can address a PR and understand what it means without having to figure out how someone else's code works or whatever. So maybe that's the wrong approach. Maybe that's not the right way of approaching this idea. But I feel that that's necessary. The enhancement, it is crazy, but generally it's pretty fun. I'd like to have less weekend tournaments. This year is pretty heavy with 3. Hopefully once things slow down this summer, I can get back to my projects and start streaming again. Yeah. OSS is really hours. It was almost always BDFL. Yeah. But it's not, I don't like the idea of saying, this can't be people can't contribute because it's mine. But at the same time, I've got to have some ownership because I intend to deploy it, right? And if I don't understand what the code's doing because people are adding code the way they want to add the code, then that's going to be difficult. Search doesn't work. Everything's an enhancement. What else? I mean, layout and design is open to that. Here we go. Here's one. Showing screenshots of stream. Well, to me, that's also something I've not done a lot of, right? So contribution guidelines, what does that look like? How do I lay that out? And again, it's my entire approach to documentation makes that difficult because I don't like using my thoughts and my words to describe here's how you should do something. I like someone to come along and say, why does this work this way? And then make that documentation a 2-person or a 3-person or whatever collaboration initially, so that it can be laid out in a way that's not just the way I'm thinking about something. Yeah. So you absolutely need to feel that way. If you don't, not only does it make the project hard to manage, but it puts a lot of stress on maintaining. Yeah. I've tried this a few times with projects on stream, but I don't, and I've had, mixed collaboration, but it's the first time that I'm trying to make something that I know is going to be a thing. Because I want to make developers.stream an actual thing, right? I do want to, I've got the domain, I want to publish the site. But yeah, showing screenshots of stream. It would be nice to be able to um, enhancement feature. George is awesome, right? Yeah, I'm glad you got that figured out. Or hopefully made progress from your perspective. Um, it's good to have people that like. I mean, I know that from experience that's George's way of working with things, right? It's, let's sit down and talk and go through it, and it's a really great way to have people. Um, yeah. Time to see if I can borrow some data from a wiki site. Yep, that's awesome. Yeah. Well, sometimes even just that conversation can help move things along, right? Okay. So we're adding some items in here. Again, this is if you are interested, even if you're just interested in seeing what the code's doing right this second. If you have questions, thoughts, opinions on it, you're more than welcome to share. Good place to start and could serve as a good play based how and why contributions are rejected. That's what I meant by tap the sign. Yeah, it's yeah. Initially when I started today, I was interested in trying to um proceed with other things or see what else I needed to enhance. But then I just decided just before I started, I'm like, no, you know what? We're gonna say this is ready. We're just gonna push forward and see what happens. Um, because ultimately, once this is done from my perspective, like it's live and it's usable, I'd like to turn around and do a bit of bot work on those days where I would have been doing developers.stream and integrate with the API so that when, people like Trap and One Line and those come into the stream, it can shout them out and provide that blurb. Just went to the site, does not play nice with Dart Reader. Well, my styling ability being what it is, that is not entirely surprising. Um, yeah. Yeah, because I use DuckDuckGo, I don't enable Dart Reader and stuff. It is what it is, right? Um, but that's a good point. So the weird bug was caused by a new task and not awaiting it. That makes sense. Yeah. The amount of times rubber ducking has made me realize the problem without the person I rubber duck with saying a word. Yeah. But that's why I like having a collaborative community as well. Like having someone that's willing to jump in a call, even if they have no idea what you're actually doing, it can be useful. I'm definitely one who likes to talk through things to try and get things right, but sometimes I just yeah. It's funny. The other week, I had um well, it can create a new thread. That's the important thing. Task doesn't necessarily create a new thread; it's managed underneath. Um, so it doesn't necessarily create a thread. That's why the async stuff is there. Um, but the other week, I had an issue with my car when I was going to Texas, and I called my wife. I was like, "This has happened," and she started stressing and like trying to figure out. I'm like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa! Stop! I'm just talking through what I want to do. I'm not trying to get you to solve my problem. I need to talk it through so I think through what I'm gonna do next. So like, like you're just a rubber duck. Apparently, she was not happy with me. My daughter, when I got home, told me to never do that ever again. Um, uh, Now I have to kill the client-side autoplay with a config flag. I can, but yeah, it was used to call an async method that wasn't awaited. Basically, big in parallel flows. Yes, does make sense. But anyway, as the chat gets busy and I realize that I'm over time, so you asked your wife to not solve the problem. Truly, well, I had an issue. The under tray of my car fell down while I was driving at high speed. So I pulled over and I have a bad knee, so I couldn't kneel down. I was like, my initial thought was kneel down, rip off the cover. It's just stopping stones and stuff going up in the engine. What's the worst that could happen? Right? Because I needed to get to the airport. I was like, okay, so I called her and I said, look, I can't kneel down. The tray's hanging off. I can't drive because if that comes loose on the parkway, I'm going to kill someone or myself. So I was talking it through, and she's like, well, oh, hold on, I can come and get you. And I'm like, what are you going to do? um, so I was getting frustrated at being her trying to problem solve for me, and I was like, no, 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 I just need to talk it through. In the end, made a decision, solved it. But yeah, um, yes, it's kind of crazy. But anyway, it is 9:06. I do have a day job, unfortunately. Well, no, fortunately, I have a day job. Unfortunately, they expect me to actually do something for the money they pay me. So until my side projects take off and I become a billionaire, I'll have to handle that. I'm aiming high, by the way. Um, so developers.stream is open to contribution. It's open to issues. If you want to add issues, you're more than welcome. I know it's ridiculous. In today's age, I should just get money for doing nothing. I will kind of think about this over the weekend. Things like Dark Reader, yes. I would like to get some sort of good styling and some design to the site, but I'm not quite sure what's the best way of doing that one. But yeah. But yeah, if you can, if you want to, if you check it out and build it and see if it runs for you, everything should work. You do need Docker, remember, because it does start up containers for Postgres. But yeah, I will return on Monday. Monday will be a longer stream because Monday is a day off work, so I will have a longer stream on Monday. We may do a mix of developers.stream and potentially Liquid Sky, depending on my progress on Liquid Sky over the weekend. However, don't forget, it is Friday. One Lion streams on Fridays. He has Community Day. It is a great place to go and hang out if you like talking about software and technology in general. I would highly recommend going hanging out with One Lion. I have another set of meetings around that time, so I may or may not be there, but I will be lurking regardless. Yes, yes, you definitely should. But I'm glad some problems got solved today. I'm glad we did what we did. But if you like .NET content, OneLine is also a .NET developer and an awesome Blazor developer. I wouldn't even consider myself mediocre at this thing yet. I have no idea how Blazor is working. So yes. But anyway, that will be me for today. We're going to go raid Frank. It is Friday. Frank is streaming. He's looking at Aspire.NET 9.3, which is interesting. We just updated this to Aspire 9.3. And I will be back on Monday. So have a great weekend all. See you around. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye all.